All right. Welcome to the first ever footy matchups with Jack and Luke Dixon. Say good day, Jack.
Hello.
All right, we are here to look and break down the AFL games, specifically looking at the matchups player to player. We know it's a little bit old fashioned, and of course, they don't really line up player to player anymore, but it's something that we've thought we would put into a podcast. It's something we like to do pre all AFL games anyway. So we thought we would take a bit of a stab and just see how it plays out for the finals games. The first game we are looking at is Port Adelaide versus Geelong, and the big news in the team selection. Jack, do you want to announce it?
Tom Stewart has been announced as a late change out of the side,
So
which could be very costly for the Cats.
he's such a critical player. It's going to be really hard to see how they're going to go in terms of covering that. Look, he was playing a bit more on ball with a bit of movement down back after that, but gee, that's a huge one. Surprisingly, the sub is Zach Tui. I thought, considering there was no Tom Stewart, he'd come in, but I think it's Mullen who's the late in. So there were rumours that De Koning was going to be the late in. But it's funny the way it works with Stewart being the late out. It does tend to work like that when they're hiding something, they'll clearly they wanted to make it look like the team was stronger than it was. So as soon as Stewart was the laid out, you did feel that De Koning probably wasn't going to be in the team because you just would have named him first up anyway. So we're going to look through the matchups and we're going to have a bit of a chat. And look, some of these matchups won't happen. Obviously, some of them will. But the first matchup we're going to do, and then we're going to keep a bit of a tally as we go on. And then we're going to add them up and see who we come up with a winner. And we'll see if that adds up come final siren time. All right, so the first matchup we're looking at is the Rucks. Probably not the strongest point of either team. It's Sweet versus Stanley. Jack, what do you think on that one?
Personally, I think Reece Stanley just has a bit more experience in this area in the ruck. He's played a lot of games for the Cats, so I will have to go Stanley here.
Oh, gee, I'm going to lean to Sweet. It's a bit of, it's really going to be a 0-0 one. I feel for me. I just don't particularly trust Reece Stanley. I think his best is part Stim. I think he probably had his better part of his career has probably come and gone. Um, he's been been a good serviceman, and look, I think he's not going to struggle in the ruck tonight. I think that it's a pretty even contest, Sweet and Stanley. Agree?
Yes.
All right. Now, again, we'll look at the midfields. We're just going to match up some of the names at random. So Taylor Broon and Connor Rozee.
You'd think Connor Rozee, just such a superstar in the game, would romp over Tanner.
Yeah, I think Broon's solid, but yeah, you've got to give the points to Rozee. And this is looking at these midfield matchups, like even the next one, Zach Butters and Dangerfield, probably the closest one, but I know
But
I'll be going Butters.
I'll also be going Butters.
Yeah.
Just Dangerfield's getting a bit old now.
Look, his best play is still brilliant, but yeah, Zach Butters is just I think a class above. And then I think we know how this one will go too. Horn Francis and Mitch Duncan.
Yes, Horn Francis just has too much pace over Mitch Duncan these days. Port Adelaide's midfield is one of the best, if not the best midfield in the competition. When they're on, they look very dangerous, but when they're off, they can be inconsistent.
Yeah, I reckon they can kind of run a bit behind the ball. Run forward of the ball. They don't defense doesn't isn't always their strong suit. I think they are very much charging forward of the ball. It'll be very interesting to see if Geelong can hurt them with no Houston down back,
Yeah.
which definitely does hurt them. The wings. I've got views on the wings. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are, Jack. Burgoyne v Dempsey.
Oh, this is a tough one. Two very young players, both probably, I'd assume, playing in their first finals.
Yes, yes, I would believe. Jace Burgoyne, that would be a
Maybe
good
he
one.
played last year.
Yeah, I'll have a check. Definitely Dempsey's first.
Ollie Dempsey, though, rising star, very good player. I'd have to give it to him here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Dempsey might just cover. He's been great this year. I really rate him. So I think he could be absolutely. Yeah, I think I really rate him. I think he can have a big game. The other one, Max Holmes and Will Drew. I reckon two of the most underrated players going around in the competition right now.
I would have to agree with you there. Willem Drew goes under the radar a lot. He's a good player, good solid player. I think he played his 100th game a few games ago, and he was a very good player. I think he was one of the best on ground in that game. But yeah, so I'll probably go Willem Drew.
Yeah, oh, gee, it's tight. I'm actually going to lean Max Holmes. I think it's their strength. I just think that his ability to his reading of the play is fantastic. But I do rate Drew as well. I think he's had a great. His latter form has actually been part of the reason they've really turned it around in the latter stage of the season. Look, it's going to be a top battle. There's definitely not a standout winner either way there. But the Wings is if Geelong are going to win, I think that's where they could get the job done. Interesting one. I've got Burn Jones listed as a half forward flank, and looking at the teams, they've got listed him as a half back flank. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see which way they do go with this one. I'm sticking with my prediction of him as a half forward flank up against Jack Bowes. How do you see that one? If that was to play out, he may
Yeah.
end up replacing Dan Houston. We don't know.
I do think Darcy Byrne-Jones is a very good player. He's got a bit of experience under his belt. Bose doesn't do too much
He's
for them.
solid.
Yeah, he's a
He's.
solid
I
player.
think Geelong have a lot of solid. Atkins, Manor, who's been a
Yeah.
revelation. They're solid. I don't think you can say like, yeah, he's not going to kill you. He's not going to
Mm.
destroy you. Look, I've got him as a halfback flank, man. Because I'm like trying to figure out who else they'll put there. And again, we may be totally it's gone the other way. But
Yeah.
are you all leaning
I'll
Burn
lean Ben
Jones?
Jones there.
I'll lean Burn Jones too. Very interesting to see where he does play because I'm yeah, that I will be looking for that one pretty quick off the bat because yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do try and cover. Um, yeah, such a big loss because he is a huge loss. Um, so yeah, and even on the halfback flank, like even when I'm looking at my own teams, I think I've got Travis Boak on a halfback flank now. I don't know if that will happen, but
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. Perhaps Burn Jones will be the natural go-to there. So anyhow, interesting to see. But yeah, I think on pound for pound, you've got to go Burn Jones, Charlie Dixon,
Mm.
Zach Guthrie. Now I must admit,
Cool.
my opinion of Zach Guthrie, he has. I thought early on, oh, he's going to struggle. He has been fantastic the last few years. Um, yeah, that's a Charlie. Oh, he can do anything,
Yeah,
literally
he could
anything.
kick a bag of six, or he could just go missing the whole entire day.
Yeah. I'm going to go Guthrie. I just think that he's, to be honest, a little bit more consistent. Charlie, even if he takes a bag of marks, so unlikely to kick a bag of goals. That's he's got the Joe Danaher's about him that sometimes he can be as much of a liability as he is a strength.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I reckon Charlie Dixon will just be a bit too strong for Zach Guthrie, and I do think that could be a mismatch in the forward line. So I'll have to go Charlie Dixon with that matchup.
Now, matchups often throw up these ones where you go, do I pick the player because I don't know enough about the other guy? Francis Evans versus Buse. Now I've seen a little bit of Francis Evans. I Buse is a solid goer. Um, I don't know what you. I don't know a
Yeah,
lot about him for this matchup. I'll be honest. I find this one a tough one. I'm almost leaning to Buse, but So Francis Evans, what do we know about him?
So he's a solid goaler. He gets 1 or 2 goals a game. He's a forward pocket, not too tall. He'll kick. He won't be like too cots. Like he won't hurt you, but he's a solid goer. I'd probably lean him over Buse though.
Okay, look, I'm going to go Buse. I don't look. He could absolutely hammer them, and I'll be like, oh, okay. But yeah, Buse is again. He's another of those solid, dependable, nuggety back pockets.
Yeah.
So I'll lean to him. But yeah, yeah. All right, moving on. Now this is I have got Rioli v Blitzarves. Now that seems unlikely to be the matchup. But actually no, sorry, I'll correct myself. Georgiades, who has been in fine form, he's the man. Sorry, I beg my pardon there. So Georgiades up against Blitzarves could be the matchup. What do we think if that occurs?
So Georgiades been in good form. I feel he can be very good at stages, but he can also just go missing. There's games where him,
I
Marshall,
disagree. Yeah, I disagree
and
a little bit this year.
he's
I
been
agree with Charlie Dixon. I don't know about Georgiades.
he's been a lot more consistent this year, but when there's days when none of the big three forwards for Porter not they're all not firing and
Yeah, okay.
the teams just run over the top. And I think Mark Blicavs can be a key defender, but can also have a bit of run and
Yeah,
carry off the halfback flank. So I'll probably go Blicavs here.
I've let Georgiades.
Okay.
I really rate him. I think he's been their key player. The ex cat, the much maligned Radigalia up against Jack Henry. What do we think on this one?
Radigalia in the forward line.
Yeah,
So
he's been. Look,
has he?
it's worked. Yeah, they moved him there 5 or 6 weeks ago, and it's worked. It's absolutely worked.
Yeah, Radigalia. I remember this game against Cullen a few years ago where he fisted the ball back in
Yeah,
to his
oh,
own goal.
he's had a few moments like that this year too.
Yeah.
He's an interesting one.
He has his good moments, but he has his bad moments. When he's on, he's a really good player.
Yeah,
But when he's off, and I'm worried in finals pressure, will he be able to sustain
yeah,
that class?
yeah. I'm going to lean towards Henry, but wouldn't be surprised if Radley got kicked a couple of goals and won this matchup.
Yeah, I'll have to go agree with you here. Jack Henry gets it up,
Yep.
gets the match up.
Excellent. All right. Well, the next one, and now I'm just frantically checking that all these players that I have got my list. I did double check them. The next matchup that I have is Mead versus Kolajasnish. Kolajasnish?
Kolajasny.
Kolajasny. I've added the extra J in there.
Oh no, it's the Silent J.
It's the silent J. It's got me. All right. What do we think?
Yeah, he's a good solid defender, Kolajasny. I think I'd probably lean Kolajasny in this matchup.
I'm going to do the same. I think they're yeah, and look, on paper, and again, I think when we do this, we do find the same. Sometimes on paper they look better than what they are, but
Mm.
I'm going to go for him, Colin Chesney. Colin Chesney. Got to stop adding the last bit there. All right, next. All right, now we're moving on. All right, Close versus Travis Boak. Look, he may not line up here. I would say there's a good chance he won't line up there, but for the sake of matchups, we're going to say Close v Boak.
I think Close in this matchup will just have way too much energy for him. Travis Boak's scraping into the 22 these
Oh,
days.
you reckon? So I think he's actually a good, solid player. I think he's still got it in him. Having said that, I really rate Close.
Yeah.
I think he's a yeah. There's a reason the Cats are where they are, and it ain't because of their midfield. So it's for me, it's guys like close up forward who are generally getting the job done. So yeah, for me, I'm happy to go as Close in the winner for this one.
I have to agree with you there. I'll go Close.
All right, geez, we've got Surprisingly, I've got Cats in front at the moment. I'm going to race through because the game is close to start time. Ollie Henry and Alir.
Ollie Henry and Aaliyah. So Aaliyah, of course, a lot taller than Ollie Henry. Ollie Henry left Collingwood, probably missed out on a flag because of it. He'll be hungry for,
Yeah, that's a good point.
and I feel Aaliyah will zone off and might let Ollie Henry get a few at the back. So I'll go Ollie Henry here.
Okay, interesting. Just looking at that, because I was actually thinking, oh yeah, he's got a bit of height. So if that is the matchup, and look, it might not be. Zerk Thatcher might be the man they go to there. So who did you lean to there?
So I went Ollie Henry.
Oh, you're leaning Ollie Henry. I'm going to back in Ollie. I just don't know if Ollie will quite have enough impact on the game.
Yep.
But we will see. All right, next, Myers and Bergman.
Brian Myers, I do rate him.
He's
a
class.
good player.
He is a class act.
Bergman's pretty good, but Brian Myers' iconic kicking action led the goal assist tally, I think it was, for a lot of years, and he's a very good player, so I'll lean Brian Myers here.
Yeah. No, I'm with Brian Myers. Again, just looking at this, I've got, especially with Stewart out, I had Port winning reasonably comfortably, and yet, yeah. Anyway, this is the interest of matchups, and we'll have a look at these when the game's done, and have a look and see exactly how we did go. All right, the next one we are looking at is I've got here Shannon Neal versus Burton. Now, I'd be surprised if that was the matchup, but looking at, I don't know who else they'd put on him unless they put Bergman on him. I'm not sure.
Unless they put Aaliyah on him and then go Burton on Henry.
Yeah, that's a possibility. That's another matchup. I'm like, I wonder which way they'll go. Look, for this sake, let's say Burton on Neil.
Yeah, so Burton's a solid defender. Shannon Neal's a solid forward. They're pretty even. None are superstars, but I'll probably go Burton here.
Yeah, look, I think he's been a very consistent. I think he's one of those players where he's on your team, you notice him, but he can be a little bit out of sight, out of mind for the opposition. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how that one goes. All right, so the next matchup we have is Jeremy Cameron versus Zerk Thatcher. Boy, it looks like a mismatch on paper. I don't know if they'll go down this path. We will see.
Yeah, Zerk Thatcher didn't impress me when he was at the Bombers.
Yes.
He's been a bit better for Port, though. He
plays a role, doesn't he?
He plays a role. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to sustain Cameron. It could be a Cameron night out. He could kick 5-6. But he's been on some good form, so maybe he's due for a quiet one.
All right, so I'm going Cameron, though.
Yeah, Cameron. Gotta go.
Yeah. All right, next one up we have, and the last one for the starting 18 before we rapid fire through the interchange is looking here for Geelong, Tyson Stengel versus Lockie Jones.
Yeah, Stengel, world class.
World class. You rated him high. He's not just good footy Aussie level. He's at world class.
But one of the best in the AFL forward pockets, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree there. I don't know if his form's been quite as good as 2 years ago, but
yeah,
he's still quality.
He's still very good. Him, Grind Myers, Ollie Henry are all very good forward pockets.
Would you rate Ollie Henry a forward pocket, though? I mean, I know he sort of plays
he's
like
a medium forward.
Yeah, he's more in the Elliott type, isn't he? Like Jamie Elliott type. But yeah, look, I'm going to go Stengel there too. All right, rapid fire through the bench. Okay. Ollie Wines and Manor.
Got to go. Oh, now Manor, I think, is a really underrated player. I think he's
I agree with you there.
Up-and-coming player. I think he looks really good, but I've still got to go Ollie Wines, former Brownlow medalist.
Yeah, and he is in really, really, really good form at the moment. All right, McKenzie and Atkins. I'm glad I've got that name right. McKenzie and Atkins.
McKenzie, solid forward pocket, gets a bit of a very similar to Jackson Mead. So I'd probably go McEntee.
Yeah, I'm going to go Atkins.
Yeah.
He's a good, honest, good player for the finals. For me, he's a good player. We have the other Evans and Humphreys.
Francis Evans, right?
No, this is the other Lockie Evans. Is it Lockie? Logan Evans. Oh man, I love. Yeah, no, I must admit, I think this is one of those Humphreys by default.
Yeah, I have to go Humphreys.
He's also a good player, but
he does his role.
Yeah, I think we will be watching very closely, Jack. We are going to have to watch very, very closely on Logan Evans.
Okay, what number?
So he is so he's 18, so he's a youngster, 43.
43. I'll have a look at
I think we're going to have to watch him very closely because, I just saw he's 189 centimeters and he's 18. That's a good question. It's got here medium defender.
Medium defender.
So we're just all over Logan Evans. I think we might even rename this the Logan Evans honorary podcast because of how much we love the guy. And I have done that thing where I cannot figure out which player I have missed off my list, but it's Mullen versus someone. Who do you think? Can Mullen beat a random? No, actually, I know who it is. I know it is Rioli. Mullen and Rioli.
Willie
Rioli, Mullen and Rioli. Who are going here?
Oh, gotta go Rioli, right?
Yeah, I think it's Rioli. Now, my numbers might be off, but I reckon we might be all tied here.
Oh no!
So
11.
I will go back and check the tape because I did lose track of it there for a bit.
We'll
Narkle versus Tui. Who is your pick?
Oh, Quinton, the former cat versus the current cat.
Yeah.
Zach Tui, experienced player. Quinton Narkle has a good haircut.
Yeah, he's got a good haircut. Is that giving him the edge? Is he getting the edge with a good haircut?
No, Zach Tui still gets up.
Zach Tui gets it. I'll just split it. I'm going to go Narkle. But interesting, it's tight. Like 12, 11, 11, 12, which... And I think that's part of the thing. I think actually Geelong do have more depth. There's actually, especially with Houston now, I know Stewart's a big out, but just looking at those individual matchups, I feel the depth is on the Cats side, but it's that midfield, Rosie, Butters, Horn-Francis, like we could almost have rushed through that because they were just so clearly winners. So I think it's do those three absolutely gun it. If Cats can contain them to some degree, I think they can win, but it's going to be can they contain those gun three?
Yeah, because they do drop their heads that big three when it starts to get tough. Like this Collingwood game at the MCG, they were all over the Pies, and then just
that's right
switched off, and
I think once the
Collingwood ran over them.
Yeah, and once the pressure, and that's the thing, guys like Duncan, Bruin, Atkins, Danger. They can apply pressure. They can put the pressure on Bose. If they can put the pressure on, I think this is close to a 50-50 for me. Stewart out definitely helps the power, but it's a close one.
My tip when I actually did the tips, I think I had Port winning.
Yeah,
but intriguing to see that in matchups I have Geelong.
There you go. All right. Well, I look forward to looking to see how we go with this one and looking at future games. Thanks for listening. We will be a little bit earlier with our podcast, but feel free to listen to this after the game and see how close we got. Thanks for listening. I am Luke. This was also Jack.